Good morning. I am the token sales guy in the room, but I don't want you to think the wrong thing, in that I actually come from a marketing background. I am one of only two people in my company with a marketing degree, weirdly enough. And for those of you that I haven't met, I am clearly American. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. And joining me today is Colby Cavanaugh, who lives in Portland in the United States. He is our VP of Alliances and Channels. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the Clever Touch team and looking forward to the Fujitsu presentation and to learning with you throughout the course of the day today. We've got lots and lots of things to cover, but just to kind of give you a little background. So I've been in the marketing technology space for what sounds like 20 years, since I was 9 years old. Actually was one of the original founders of a company called Eloqua. Anyone an Eloqua customer here today? A couple, all right. When I joined the company, we were a $5 million company. We grew the company from $5 million to $95 million, and then sold the company for $1 billion. Just a little shy of $1 billion. We also are part of the crazy people that invented that goofy slide that you saw a moment ago with the million logos. Anybody want to guess in 2006, 2007, how many vendors there were on that slide? Anybody want to guess in 2007 when the slide, Adam? You remember when the slide first got written?
It was about 50, I guess.
Less than 60 vendors were on that slide. Anybody know what the number is today, 2018? 5,000 companies that exist on that slide. Now, while I am a marketer by trade, I'm a sales guy by profession today, and I run a sales and marketing organization. Our company, Integrate, is based in Phoenix, Arizona. My CEO is a guy named, who you might not know, but you might. His name is Jeremy Bloom. Jeremy is the founder of one of the founders of the company. Jeremy was one of the only athletes on the planet to be an Olympic athlete. He was a downhill mogul skier, and the day after the games in Turin, he went to the NFL Combine and was drafted by an American football team called the Philadelphia Eagles. He played for the Eagles and for the Steelers. And then he started, after he left the NFL, he started this company called Integrate. Jeremy was a marketer by trade. When he came out of the NFL, they sent him to Wharton Business School, and he got his MBA from Wharton. The NFL was kind enough to pay for that. And Jeremy has been in this space for quite some time. We've grown the company over the course of the last 4 years, triple, double in growth, but all surrounding the notion of helping marketers to weave through this crazy nightmare of marketing technology, get to the heart of a problem, and, to use Adam's example, simplify the way that it is that we help the marketer be successful. Now, I'm part of the answer and the problem, in that here behind me was one of the original, my CMO is a guy named Scott Vaughn. Anybody know Scott? Anybody connected to Scott? If you don't, Vaughan. Scott is one of the most prolific CMOs in the marketing space today, and I recommend that you reach out to him, connect with him on LinkedIn. Scott was my customer when I was at Eloqua at UBM. Was one of the most difficult CMOs I've ever sold to try and get my software through the UBM framework. But it was because Scott was wired at his core, at the DNA level, to focus on revenue, performance, and acceleration, and not get sucked into the craziness in the world that is MarTech today. 5,000 client companies. Just by show of hands, how many of you, I got 2 for Eloqua, how many Marketo customers? Ooh, large juxtaposition, okay? Pardot. Something other than Eloqua or Marketo or Pardot. HubSpot, anything else like that? Okay. Yes, please?
We're transitioning.
We're transitioning. I love it. Okay, awesome. How many have ESP solutions that you're trying to make a marketing automation tool, or that you're trying to use as though it's a marketing automation tool? Exact Target, Responses, any of those? We're seeing an interesting trend in that perspective, right? How many have nothing with regard to marketing automation or marketing tech? Okay, so a couple of other categories just so I can understand. Anyone doing A/B split testing, site-side optimization? Products like Optimizely and Maximizer. A few, awesome, fantastic. From a web, just again for audience surveying, for web analytics, from a web analytics perspective, Adobe Audience, Adobe, yes, okay, all right. Anyone using Web Trends still? Colby and I both worked at Web Trends together. God bless you, sir. Thank you very much, my children. Thank you. That is lovely. Okay, fantastic. Look, guys, we have come a remarkable long distance. We are able today, remembering that marketing automation as a technology did not exist any guesses? Pre what year? As a category, marketing automation as a category did not exist pre what year? Anyone guess? 2008 was the first time that Gartner used the term marketing automation. 2008. Okay, so in relative terms, 2008 to 18, 10 years to create a market segment to go from 60 logos to 5,000 logos. How many people, though, when you woke up this morning, thought to yourself, I am drowning in marketing technology? Anyone? I hear it every day. I'm drowning. And yet, I cannot seem to get my arms around the performance of each solution. I know things like open rates and click-through rates. Anybody rise and fall in the morning on open rates and click-through rates? Website visits, form submits, etc. Guys, we've come a long way. We are able to, in the span of 10 years, we can generate leads and pipeline. Truly, we can show exactly the revenue impact. How many people have in your MBOs or in your job responsibility a revenue performance number? 1, 2, 3. First year we did a thing called Eloqua Experience, which those of you that are Eloqua customers know what that is. That was our giant user conference today in the Marketo world. I think that's called Marketing Nation or Marketo Nation, right? First year we did this, we had 500 attendees. My CEO asked the room, how many of you today are judged based on your ability to impact revenue? Out of 500 people, 4 hands raised. The next year we had 1,200 people, and the same question was asked. How many of you here are judged in your daily life on your impact on revenue? 40 people. Third year, most of the entire room raised their hands. Same question. And as they say, the further away you get from revenue, the larger the target on your back becomes. Sorry, it's the reality of the world that we live in. And so your ability to run things like leads and pipeline and directly tie that to revenue and your impact on revenue, huge. We can connect our MA systems and our CRM systems and our websites together almost seamlessly. How many people feel confident that you've woven together MA, CRM, and the website? Anyone? A couple, 2 or 3? And yet, would you say that that's a barrier to entry for your success in marketing? Absolutely. It's the thing that we hear every day. We're trying to weave all this together. And oh, by the way, it just so happens that we also have data from all over the enterprise. Anyone ever come back from a trade show with 300 swipes and trying to figure out how to get those 300 swipes, people that came by the booth and we scanned their badge, into the hands of the sales reps? Anyone ever been concerned about how long that takes? Because we all know that leads from a trade show have the shelf life of a fish, right? Absolutely a challenge. We can drive traffic to our web pages and we've got really good content, right? Because content gets them to the website, doesn't it? Right. We have mostly solved the inbound challenge, and we have generally a technology or a way to get from capture to a score and route those and put them in nurture. How many people would say that you have a complex lead scoring model built today? 2, 3, 4 that you're really excited about? How many people have multiple lead score models built for your enterprise versus one? A few? Awesome. Cool. Yeah? Yeah, that's exciting. That means that we are building multiple models for lead scoring, and Adam and team know how to do that better than anybody. That is predicated on lines of business, geo, et cetera, right? We can measure stuff. Really cool. How many people are using the BI tool that is contained within your marketing automation system versus sending it out to some other tool, Tableau, MicroStrategy, et cetera? And sorry, Maimon, you're a Marketo customer. Awesome BI, right? Using the tools they have, but we're also seeing this huge outcry of we need more from a BI perspective, and the data that needs to be woven together with what's in marketing automation is the difference between success and failure in the way that we present. We're platform certified. How many people have an advanced certification in marketing automation, Eloqua, Marketo, et cetera, et cetera? I myself am an Eloqua master, sales guy, genius, certified, right? And that matters because we actually have some professionalization of the marketing automation problem. You guys know what got us there today is not going to get us there in the future. You know how this formula works. We pay millions of dollars to Google. We build out forms and we build out landing pages and we integrate all this with the marketing automation systems. We create amazing content and we drive them to the website and we capture the website forms. And the forms still say Mickey Mouse at mickeymouse.com for an email. Or they say kiss my and butt on first and last name. I will not say which marketing automation system, but I was with a customer in Florida 2 weeks ago, CMO, and he said, yeah, one of my sales guys in Salesforce entered, I will never sell to this jackass in an open form in Salesforce, in an open field. And you want to finish the swing for me? Anybody want to finish the swing for me? What happened? Somebody accidentally pulled a segment that included the data element, I will never sell to this jackass. And that email went out, dear, fill in the blank. So how we really come a long way, guys? How we really? Look, customers are expecting more from us. The world is expecting more from us. 35 million digital devices are being added to the internet monthly. By the year 2020, 50 billion devices will exist on the internet. And so customers are expecting more. They're expecting you to engage at a different level. They are absolutely focused on how do we engage with the buyer. I wrote down some stats here. 50 billion devices by 2020. 55% of enterprise CMOs polled said we have better nail this digitization of the enterprise. Absolutely critical to our success. And yet, we have to be focused on how this technology, this crazy nutso world from a logo perspective, how it's delivering for us as a marketer. And so revenue performance and revenue acceleration is critical to your success. We've got a little free air that we have to work through. It's a balancing act from a marketing perspective in that how do we balance the technology with the delivery? Of those of you that raised your hand and said that you were tied from an MBO or from a job performance perspective to revenue, can someone comment on whether or not it's a revenue increase or an attribution of revenue? Anyone? That was both? It's an increase and it's attribution. Are you guys running influence and attribution models for the most part? Fantastic. And so there's some rare air. There's hope afoot. And I love the balancing act that we face. So we've got to think and we've got to act differently than we have in the past. And this is one of my favorite quotes. I'm just going to read it. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. I love this one to start all marketing conversations, all marketing meetings, because it gives us a great framework to think through. And yet, we get back to this, right? We get back to this ickiness from a marketing perspective. And so my watch for the day for all of you as we get ready to go to Fujitsu is don't let this distract you. Pick a road. pick three things. Anybody know why I do the number three this way? Anybody guess? Apparently it's different by different cultures. I was an Air Force aviator for about 10 years. And when you are showing the number three between two airplanes that are not in radio communication, that are flying side by side, the number three can look like the number two. So you have to show to the other guy, if you're going to channel 3 on the radio, you have to show it this way so the other guy can see across the way if we're 75 yards away from each other. And so there's three things that we absolutely have to focus on. If you'll just get three things to simplify, to use Adam's vernacular. The first thing is no time. I'm not inventing more time. It's really easy to get distracted in this world and in this sort of jumble of words. It's really easy to get distracted. You have no time. That's one. The second part is you have too many choices. Pick a road. Focus on revenue performance because everything in the world of marketing goes backwards from revenue. Don't choose vanity metrics is the third thing, right? And so we're going to talk a lot more about that. How do we turn up the volume? Don't choose vanity metrics. How many people walk into your CMO's office with open rate, click-through rate, and website visits as the thing that is carrying you to the dance? Anyone? Anyone think that that's going to get you where you need to go in success? Absolutely will not. So my recommendation, guys, is at this stage, we don't want to get distracted by too many choices. We want to focus on assessment and simplification, to use Adam's vernacular. This is kind of the road to revenue journey from a marketing perspective. And it kind of starts with, let's begin with the lead generation framework. Let's understand our lead quantity and quality. Does everyone understand clearly your current acceptance rates from MQL to SQL and SQO with sales reps? Do you understand clearly how many how many leads are being accepted and rejected by sales? Can someone please share with me why you think the number one reason why reps reject your leads? Anyone? It's the number one reason why reps reject your leads. Data quality. Amen. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Number one reason, data quality. And is the data quality generally around what we know about the opens and the clicks and the website? It's normally, there's something about the data itself in the lead that is bad. So we start with data quality. We sort of move from there into the demand generation framework. Is everyone in the room focused on generating very clear ICP? You guys know what I mean by ICP, the ideal customer profile. Is that a part of your framework for everyday living? Everybody's agreeing on ICP? Everybody's agreeing on personas, yes? Absolutely. The room collectively nods on that one. That's terrific. Okay. And then tracking and reporting from a dashboard perspective, as we mentioned before, critical. So at the end of the day, it's critical that we sort of build our model, and then as we drive into revenue marketing instead of just demand gen, this becomes remarkably critical to your success. Again, going backwards from revenue and understanding how much is enough from a marketing perspective. At the end of the day, all of this data is locked up inside of attribution and inside of influence marketing going forward. So, first thing we got to do is assess. So these are our 4 core focus areas, right? We assess our process, we assess our data, we assess our talent, and then finally our technology. Notice I listed technology as last. We tend to start with the technology these days, assuming that it's going to solve for all of our problems, but we did not understand the core framework of our success to start forward. So let's start with the process. And you've all heard this notion of automating automating bad process is the worst thing that we can do, right? So we'll start with our process. We understand what our big initiatives are. We understand what is our core strategy from big to small with regard to the targets. How many people are running after ABM today? active ABM process or projects? A couple? This is where we ask the question, what was it that we thought we were going to get from ABM when we decided to do ABM? Number one question I ask of our customers, when you decided to invest in ABM, what were you looking to get? And the general answer is, I don't know, everybody's doing ABM. Really? Again, going back to that slide with the million logos, everybody's doing ABM, so we should think about ABM because we saw it in the British Airways magazine of the hot new things that are going on in marketing. We should look at ABM. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, from my perspective, ABM is still just, what's the M part? Still just marketing. Those of us that have been around the world for a while remember it in the old days as target marketing. Right? Let's pick a group of accounts, let's focus on those accounts, let's zero in on the personas, and let's go win. And that's evolved over the years to this thing called ABM. Second piece, most important piece in my opinion, the data, right? How many people, and this is going to be a little uncomfortable, you ready? Does anyone have a guess as to how many percentage-wise, how many contacts exist in your database that are currently sitting in an unsubscribed state? Any guesses? According to Gartner, 34% of your contact records are sitting in your database in an unsubscribed state. The land of the living dead when it comes to contacts. Right? By the way, anyone a fan of the Living Dead TV show? Does that happen here? That's actually filmed in my hometown. Not kidding. And so we call that the land of the dead leads. 34% of your contacts sit in an unsubscribed format. Is anyone here willing to say that your data hygiene is really good? I keep track. I've been to thousands of calls and I ask the question of marketers every day, would you describe your data as hygienic? And no one ever says, oh yeah, it's great. You know, all the first names, we got all the emails correct, we've got all the titles correct, we've got V dot, P dot, vice pres, we got all the permutations, it's all good. More importantly, we got it clean and we know how to keep it clean. It never happens. So the data problem is kicking marketers' butts these days, and that's why there is an integrate. As Adam said, integrate was invented to solve the problem that marketing automation never solved for, which is how do we take data from multiple channels, multiple sources at the top of the funnel, and adjudicate the records as they flow through, like a giant Plinko game. As the records flow through, apply some logic to the records, fix what's wrong, dedupe, normalize, standardize, enrich the records, etc., and then automatically map those directly into your MA system in real time so that sales gets better class of leads, marketing gets better understanding of how leads get sort of attributed from top to bottom in real time, and at the end of the day, the data quality gets clean and stays clean. So, big deal. Talent. How many people would you say, or how many people here would say you have enough marketing talent on your team? Again, thousands of meetings. They always go, no, we can use more. And do we feel as though the talent that we have, that they are spending the time doing the things that they enjoy doing versus being a slave to the technology that they currently... We buy these technologies and then we place our people in slavery to the technology. Every day someone comes to me and says, no, Scott, we can't do that because the technology won't let us do that. I'm like, guys, did we buy it to serve us or did we buy it to serve it? At the end of the day, the talent that you have should be looking at your technology and determining, does it do what the business needs to do, or are we having to do what it tells us to do? You guys get what I'm saying? Okay, and then finally, the tech, right? At the end of the day, I believe that many of you already have the technology that you need to do everything you need to do, but you're only using 10% of what it does. Anybody know what I'm talking about? We're confident we're only using 10% of the technology. Now, this will be uncomfortable for the folks that might be selling Marketo to you or Eloqua to you, etc. But when we're only using 10%, we have to go back to them and prove that their renewal contract meets the par, that we are looking at the technology, valuing the technology, and that if we're truly not getting the most value from the technology, that we put it back on them. This is what Clever Touch is amazing at doing, is helping you capitalize on and truly expand the usage of the technologies that you spend all this money and time to evaluate and deploy, and that's what we're here for. Who's going to own adoption? Adoption is clearly the reason why these accounts don't renew, these customers don't renew. Again, that's what we're here for today. So, when we talked about the 55% of the CMOs that were polled at the enterprise, and they talked about nailing this digital revolution, there's a couple of things. Again, there's how many people are looking at ABM versus own it? Is that a topic of? Is it happening? Okay, good. Targeting, ABM, precision. Anyone doing predictive things like Mintigo and 6 Sense and things of that nature where you're looking forward? Not a hot thing here yet? Okay. Trust and compliance. GDPR is a big deal. And yet, do we truly trust marketing to adjudicate the framework of GDPR? I know everyone in the room is thinking about or has thought about GDPR. It kind of started here. I know it's a hot topic. The worry that we have in America is less GDPR, and frankly, more of the other state, at the state level in the United States. California is inventing their own GDPR monster that's going to be even worse. That's going to be more complex than the current GDPR framework. New York is inventing their own. Canada is famous for taking whatever somebody invented in Europe and making it even worse. Sorry, I said the Canadian. Sorry. It's worse, and it's going to be worse in Canada. And if you're marketing to the United States and you think you got it solved with GDPR, I got news for you. You got people living in California. Now you got a whole other thing that you have to consider. Anyone marketing to California? I'm sure many of you are. It's going to get more complex. And trusting marketing to manage the complexities of compliance is a big deal. You have to ensure that you have quality, marketable data. Silly things like dedupe, normalize, standardize, still kicking our butts. Anyone get convinced by your marketing automation vendor that they could solve for this? Anyone? A few? Yes? And quietly, yeah, I'm getting the ear tug, yes. Absolutely, and yet, still, companies that we profile, consistently, 85 to 90% of them say, we spend all this money on marketing automation and our data is still shut. Still, to this day. Speed to lead, absolutely. There's a credibility issue that exists between sales and marketing. How many people would say you are aligned with your sales teams? It's the dirty little secret, right? There is no alignment between sales and marketing. Sorry. It's really only designed to be, we should collaborate, but by its very nature, sales and marketing alignment are difficult. There's a credibility problem that exists with marketing because sales doesn't trust us anymore, because all they see is bad leads, all they see is bad data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yet you have the ability to control that relationship, credibility-wise, between sales and marketing. And finally, how do we measure, again, empirically from a revenue performance perspective, how do we measure pipeline and then be able to follow the bouncing ball from first point of ingest of data all the way to handoff of sale to sales and back to close the loop? How many people think that ROI is the marketing measure? It's not. It's COI. You ready? Cost of inaction. What happens if we do nothing, guys? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Henry Ford from the Ford Company. Famous quote from Henry Ford. And so we've got to shake it up. That's what Clever Touch does. That's what Fujitsu is doing. That's what you're going to hear from them in just a moment. So guys, just some examples. When Integrate is brought into the equation, customers like Rackspace are seeing 40 plus hours per month gotten back from eliminating bad marketing processes. Companies like Iron Mountain, quadrupling marketing's impact on pipeline. Huge. 6.6 times increase in pipeline opportunities. And Pluralsight, 4 times increase in marketing productivity. We save 80 hours a month. Things like managing the way that the NDRs process, the BDRs, SDRs, whatever role you might think of, the way that they process leads, how they get the lead quality, that sales gets a better class, that we understand again empirically from top of funnel all the way to the SQL event. These are the kinds of impacts that the Integrate framework is seeing with customers, Eloqua customers, Marketo customers, Pardot customers, even HubSpot all around the world. So guys, I hit you with a lot in a short time. I know there's some hyperbolic marketing concepts in there that I've thrown at you. We'll be around, and I'm happy to have deeper conversations with you. But I am grateful for the time today. This is just a primer for what you're going to get from Fujitsu. The real meat of the presentation you'll get in the day-to-day that Fujitsu is going to share with you. I'm grateful for the time. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you, Clever Touch, for having us here today. And let's go out there and have some fun. Any questions?